Democrats have swept back to power in the U.S. House of Representatives, and they immediately flexed their new authority by passing a new budget bill that snubs President Trump's key demand for billions in funding for a U.S.-Mexican border wall. The Democrats are presiding over the most diverse House in U.S. history, which for the first time includes Muslim women.
Okay, everybody smile!
Selfies with friends and supporters. Rashida Tlaib is one of the first 2 Muslim women elected to Congress, a historic moment.
And it's also really nice when people like us run for office and we win.
Thank you.
Yes, we look forward to seeing all the great things that she'll do and all of those that she will represent and the voice that she will provide to those of us that typically are overlooked.
The Congresswoman from Michigan still has to learn her way around Capitol Hill, just like her fellow Democrat Ayanna Pressley from Massachusetts, who brought her family to celebrate the swearing-in day with her.
I'm humbled, I'm grateful, and many people have asked me if I'm up for, if I feel pressured, either because of the historical significance of being a first or because of the crossroads we find ourselves at as a country, or the fact that we are coming into Congress in the midst of a government shutdown. And to that, I would just say that I don't feel pressured. I feel a tremendous responsibility, and I plan on doing everything possible to meet that every day.
The new Congress has already made history by seating a record number of women and becoming the most ethnically diverse. While the Republicans still have more seats in the Senate, the new Democratic majority in the House of Representatives is poised to serve as a check on the U.S. president. Their first challenge is the governmental shutdown. The standoff between the Democrats and Donald Trump could set the tone for a combative 2 years.
And in these 2 years, it's this woman who will face off against President Trump.
Nancy Pelosi, I extend to you this gavel.
Taking the gavel as a new Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi reclaimed the post she already held from 2007 to 2011.
Our nation is at an historic moment. 2 months ago, the American people spoke and demanded a new dawn. They called upon the beauty of our Constitution, our system of checks and balances that protects our democracy, remembering that the legislative branch is Article 1, the first branch of government, co-equal to the presidency and to the judiciary.
The new majority quickly went on the offensive, approving bills to reopen the government, but without the money for the border wall President Trump demands. With the conflict likely to intensify, for the newly elected lawmakers, this is only the beginning.
Well, for more on this story, I'm joined by Boris Forman. He's professor of politics at Bard College here in Berlin, specializing in American public policy. Thank you for joining us this morning. Now, the Democrat-led House has approved a new draft budget bill that does not include funding for the border wall that President Trump wants. Will that do anything to end the standoff with President Trump and get federal employees back to work?
Well, I mean, it's taking a position. I think in part this is symbolic politics. This is about taking a stance, making clear to Trump also that the next 2 years will be a more rocky terrain than it has been in the first 2 years of united government. Well, I mean, you're right. This is basically about saving face, and Trump is not going to accept it. The Senate is probably not going to pass it. There's no chance whatsoever for this to come through, but this is about symbols.
What can we expect to change in Washington with this new House of Representatives?
Well, I think one thing that's certainly going to happen is that the pressures on Trump will increase. Even in united government, his legislative record of his administration is not very strong. He has had the tax cuts, and that's most of what he's been able to show. Many of the things that have happened in the first 2 years were executive decisions, were ruled by decree, and this is something that doesn't have a long-term sustainability. So the things that Trump has implemented so far would theoretically be easy to dismantle if there were a Democratic president after his administration now. So we're going to see the attempts to use subpoena power to perhaps start an impeachment, which probably is going to fail as well because the Senate is in the hand of the Republicans. But there's going to be a harsh wind that goes against Trump.
Just one more question on this budget impasse. How do you see this playing out? The sides seem so hard in their positions.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think many of the things, there might be some kind of a trade-off. Mitch McConnell and others in the Republican Party have been trying to launch attempts of having some kind of a compromise to also offer something to Democrats in order for them to support a bill that would also fund the wall. But the positions are very hard, and it's a reflection of a deep polarization in the political system that has been around for 3 decades at least. So yes, there is an impasse.
Okay. We have an impasse in Washington. Not too much new there. Professor Boris Foreman at Berlin's Bard College, thank you so much for joining us this morning.